Good morning, America. Breaking overnight. Russia launching broad new strikes in Ukraine, using missiles and drones, targeting energy infrastructure as winter approaches. Strikes reported in major cities, areas plunged into darkness.
Last acts on the world stage, President Biden meeting with his Chinese counterpart Xi Jinping at the APEC summit, what they agreed on, and the expected shifts in foreign policy with the new Trump administration.
New accusations against Sean Diddy Combs as the music mogul makes a new plea for bail. How prosecutors are accusing him of trying to reach out to prospective witnesses. Could his jail calls be used against him?
Striking similarities. Authorities investigating whether burglaries at the homes of high-profile sports stars could be related. First, the NFL's Patrick Mahomes and Travis Kelce. Now, the NBA's Bobby Portis.
I had a home invasion, and they took most of my prized possessions.
Authorities weighing in this morning.
Taking off, what you need to know about holiday travel for Thanksgiving and beyond, the common myths being busted this morning, plus last-minute deals for a great getaway.
NFL matchups, who will lead the AFC North? And can the Bills stop the Chiefs? ESPN's Herm brings his expertise to size up this week's biggest games. Plus, a college football superfan gets serenaded for a major milestone.
Live from ABC News in New York, this is Good Morning America.
And good morning, America. So great to have you with us on a Sunday. Gio finally won.
He did.
One
I'm
of his
glad
football
that you
picks.
said it.
Speaking of football,
It's a big deal.
he's on the board.
Yes.
He got one.
And it was the one that mattered, too.
That's right. The hometown.
Fair.
Miami.
We do have a lot to cover this morning, including President-elect Donald Trump moving fast on lining up his new administration, but taking some downtime to revisit Madison Square Garden, where he held that big pre-election rally. This time, Trump taking in last night's UFC fight.
That was a big event. Also this morning, McDonald's making a major move trying to win back customers after that recent E. coli outbreak. Surely you remember that. We have more on that coming up.
But we do begin here with the new developments overnight in the war in Ukraine. Russia launching a broad new attack using missiles and drones, apparently aiming to disrupt the country's power grid as winter approaches. ABC's chief foreign correspondent Ian Pannell is there in Kharkiv. He was just underground for safety and joins us now with the latest. Ian.
Yeah, good morning, Gio. This was a massive attack across the country this morning. More than 200 missiles and drones. Not targeting the military, though, but ordinary civilians. Families who are now going to struggle with shortages of power and heating as temperatures here start to plummet. This morning, Russia launching one of its largest attacks against Ukraine in months. Missiles targeting power plants and energy infrastructure across the country, sending people fleeing to metro stations and shelters. The grid in Kyiv and at least one other region forced to shut down, and Poland's military scrambling its air force in response to the attack. The strikes signalling Russia's threat to leave millions without power as freezing temperatures begin to grip Ukraine. Amid escalating attacks and Russian advances on the battlefield, intense conversations about possible negotiations to end this war once President-elect Donald Trump takes office. Ukrainian President Zelensky says he believes the end of the war will be closer after Trump's inauguration, saying the war will end, but there's no exact date. Certainly, with the policy of this team that's about to lead the White House, the war will end faster. But Zelensky also warning that Ukraine must be kept in a strong position and that the US can't expect them to just sit and listen. Well, Elon Musk mocking Zelensky's comments in a tweet, showing once again the likely extent of his influence on political affairs under the next Trump administration and his potential impact here in Ukraine. Whit?
All right, Ian, panel for us. Thank you. We're turning now to President Biden in South America this weekend for the Asia-Pacific Economic Summit, his last chance as president to meet with China's leader. ABC's Alex Brachet has more.
This morning, President Biden with a strong message to China.
And how we get along together is going to impact the rest of the world.
Biden meeting with Chinese President Xi Jinping at the APEC summit in what will likely be their last meetings with Biden as president. The pair agreeing on artificial intelligence safety and the need for humans to maintain control over nuclear weapons. Biden also voiced deep concerns over China's continued support for Russia's war on Ukraine. The two insisted the need for continued cooperation, even as competitors, is paramount.
These conversations prevent miscalculations, and they ensure the competition between our two countries will not veer into conflict.
Xi echoing those sentiments while acknowledging President-elect Donald Trump taking office. This is Biden's swan song on the world stage, and a chief goal of this South American trip has been assuring a smooth transition between his administration and President-elect Trump, a message welcomed at this economic summit.
For me, it's a really positive sign. Leaving things in a good state, where the incoming administration has the best possibility to start off in a good way, is something I think the U.S. needs.
Still, there's an understanding here that U.S. foreign policy is shifting with the new administration, concerns growing over Trump's threat to increase tariffs. Biden was now taking his message to Brazil as world leaders gather for the G20 summit next week. Before the G20 summit, Biden is making a pit stop in Brazil's Amazon, a first for a sitting U.S. president, specifically to highlight climate change, although his views on the issue are drastically different than his newly elected successor, Donald Trump. Guys.
All right, our thanks to Alex. And that's where we turn now to President-elect Trump's fast-moving transition process. New names on the roster, including his choice for energy secretary. ABC News White House correspondent Mary Alice Parks is in Washington with the latest. And Mary Alice, the names just keep coming.
Yeah, Janae, good morning. As they say here in Washington, personnel is policy, and President-elect Trump's pick to lead the Department of Energy sends a definite message about his policy objectives, an absolute 180 from the Biden administration. Now, Trump has tapped Chris Wright, a leading fracking executive who has no previous government experience, but he has led the charge against President Biden's clean energy policies. Wright has argued that there is, quote, no climate crisis and that any effects of climate change are overblown. Of course, scientists agree that the burning of oil, gas, and coal is the main driver of climate change. And this year is shaping up to be the hottest on record, with more extreme weather events made worse by climate change already causing major destruction across the country. Now, Wright will also sit on a National Energy Council Trump is creating to be led by North Dakota Governor Doug Burgum there. The focus likely on cutting regulations and expanding drilling on federal lands. Last year, oil and gas production was already at record highs in the U.S. And Trump took a bit of a break last night. He traveled from Florida to New York to attend the Ultimate Fighting Championship event. He was greeted by the crowd. He sat with Speaker of the House Mike Johnson. His staff had posted pictures also of him with Elon Musk and Robert F. Kennedy Jr. with him, too. The president-elect is definitely moving quickly, but he still needs to name several more posts, including Secretary of Transportation, Commerce, and Treasury. Gio?
All right, Mary Alice, thank you so much. Let's go ahead and bring in Chief Global Affairs Correspondent Martha Raddatz, who'll be hosting ABC's This Week later this morning. Martha, so great to see you. Let's go ahead and start with Pete Hegseth. He's a Fox News host nominated by Trump to lead the Department of Defense. You've covered the Pentagon for many years through many wars. How could Hegseth change the DoD?
Well, Gio, he could really change it dramatically. He says throughout his book and in public that the senior leadership at the Pentagon, generals, should be fired because they are, quote, woke. He believes the Pentagon has gone too far with diversity and inclusion training, and he has made quite clear he does not think women should be in combat. Women, of course, have been approved for ground combat positions for a decade. They are in those positions now. They are doing the work. They are excelling. But whether he would try to make those changes or not, it would be cultural shock and awe there. Imagine right now Gio being one of those women.
Absolutely. And Robert Kennedy Jr., he's another one nominated. As we said, he faces a lot of pushback from the medical and scientific community. What do you know? What are you hearing about him right now?
Well, there has been what is close to outrage in some medical and scientific communities, calling him dangerous because of his skepticism on vaccines and other conspiracy theories. And he would have enormous influence over the health of Americans. But Donald Trump, as you know, never seems to back down in the face of criticism. We'll be talking to Dr. Richard Besser about that this morning, Gio.
All right. And turning now to one of Donald Trump's biggest issues, of course, the border and immigration. You've just been out to California's Central Valley. You've talked to farmers and farm workers there. What's their concern, Martha?
Well, I sure have. You know, these farmers in the Central Valley, which provides 25% of the nation's food supply, are concerned about mass deportation. They want a secure border, but it's estimated half of the crop workers are undocumented. And these farmers say if they're rounded up, they will not be able to find workers to replace them. And that could dramatically affect their crops and food prices. Gio?
All right, Martha Raddatz, as always, we thank you. And tune in to This Week Later. Martha speaks with Senator-elect Elisa Slotkin of Michigan about President-elect Trump's controversial cabinet picks and about the many losses for Democrats in the 2024 election. And Martha will speak with Republican Representative Tony Gonzalez, who represents the longest border district in Texas, about Trump's campaign promises on immigration. Whit?
Gio, now to the wildfire threat in the Northeast. High winds and dry air also fueling the danger in several states this morning. Samara Theodore is here tracking the latest on that. Samara, we can still smell the smoke outside here in New York.
Yeah, Whit, we still have an elevated fire risk again today, primarily for places like New Haven, New York City, parts of northern New Jersey. Now, I will say that Jennings Creek fire, the big one that's been burning in New Jersey and New York, yesterday it reached 90% containment, but then they lost containment for about 2 or 3 acres before recontaining. And that's the general story that I'm trying to give you. We don't have red flag warnings in effect today. We're starting to see the conditions improve, but they're not perfect yet. So you have to be very mindful of that. We are staying warm and staying dry. Temperatures around 70 degrees in our nation's capital by Monday. What we really need to get us out of this risk is more rain. We are going to see some showers moving through in the Northeast as we head into Wednesday and Thursday. Until there, just be mindful. Remember, it only takes a spark to get the fire going. Janae?
Important reminder, Samara. Thank you. To more news now. And the U.S. Justice Department has launched a civil rights investigation into the death of Sonia Massey. The woman from Illinois was shot while deputies responded to a call about a possible prowler outside her home in July. Body camera footage shows Deputy Sean Grayson shooting Massey after a dispute involving a pot of hot water in her kitchen. Grayson was fired and charged with murder, along with other charges.
All right, Janae, and new details this morning in the sex trafficking case against Sean Diddy Combs. Prosecutors now claiming that from behind bars, Combs has been trying to reach out to victims and possible witnesses. And ABC's Phil Lipoff is here now with this story. Good morning, Phil.
Good morning, Gio. Diddy's lawyers trying for a third time to get him out on bail, but this time the prosecution telling the judge about attempts they say the rap mogul made from behind bars to influence everyone from potential jury to alleged victims.
Who's the boss? Dudes is lost. Don't think cause I'm iced out, I'ma cool off.
This morning, prosecutors leveling new accusations against Sean Diddy Combs, saying he poses a serious risk of danger, even from behind bars as he awaits trial. In a court filing late Friday, prosecutors detailing the steps they say Combs is taking while locked up to reach out to prospective witnesses and influence public opinion to affect potential jurors.
The accusations within the prosecution's motion to deny bail are very serious and will be considered very heavily by the judge, because the judge is going to want to ensure that he is not influencing witnesses and or contacting anyone to influence a trial in any way.
Combs has pleaded not guilty to charges of racketeering, transportation to engage in prostitution, and sex trafficking. He denies any wrongdoing. The government now asking a judge not to grant Combs' third request for bail, in which the music mogul offers a $50 million bail package, citing new evidence and changed circumstances.
Swimming in women with their own condominiums, 5+5s who drive millenniums.
Prosecutors pointing to recorded phone calls from jail. They say Combs asked family members to reach out to potential victims and witnesses, urging them to create narratives to influence a jury pool. Allegations that could land Combs in even more trouble.
Diddy's jail calls can be used at trial if they are able to support the prosecution's case in chief. They can also provide grounds for additional criminal charges to be filed against him.
All of this while a Hulu documentary is set to be released Monday.
His name is Shine. Kid is nice.
Called The Honorable Shine, about a young rapper who says he took the rap for a nightclub shooting involving Combs and then girlfriend Jennifer Lopez.
Puffy got acquitted and he got 10 years.
He was betrayed.
I was absolutely set up to be the fall guy.
Moses Shine Levy Barrow, now running for president of Belize, says he was betrayed by Combs.
So that documentary is out tomorrow on Hulu. Lawyers for Combs say he categorically denies Mr. Barrow's allegations and that these claims are unequivocally false. Combs, by the way, has that bail hearing coming up on Friday. We reached out to his legal team about these new accusations from prosecutors, and we have not heard back. Whit?
So many developments in this case. Phil Lipoff, thank you. McDonald's says it's investing $100 million to get customers back after the recent E. coli outbreak tied to onions on the chain's Quarter Pounder hamburgers. The restaurant chain says $65 million of that money will go directly to the hardest hit franchises. More than 100 cases of E. coli were reported between September and October, with 1 death and 4 people reporting potentially life-threatening diseases. McDonald's says it has resumed selling Quarter Pounders with onions from a new supplier.
I know how excited you are about that.
Yeah, the burgers are back on track.
Well, now to the post-election surge in the cryptocurrency markets and what may be driving it. ABC's Alexis Christoforous is here with details. We are excited to hear about this one, Alexis.
Yeah, Bitcoin has been on this, defying gravity kind of run. It's been a spectacular run. I just want to start with Bitcoin because that gives us a good example. It's now at $91,000. Less than 2 weeks ago, it was at $68,000. Wow. So up 34% just since the election. And in large part, the election is what's been fueling this, meteoric rise. You've got investors now betting that President-elect Trump and the Republican-controlled Congress will mean more crypto-friendly policies, less regulation. In fact, the crypto industry was one of the largest political donors in this past election cycle. Wow. Yeah. And, initially, Trump was a big skeptic. He had called Bitcoin a scam, and now he's changed his tune. He's a fan. He actually has said he wants to make the U.S. the, quote, crypto capital of the planet. And he even launched his own crypto venture just a few weeks ago. That in itself could be a conflict of interest now that he's going to be a president. But he has, skin in the game.
Okay, so clearly there's this crypto rally going on. How long do you expect this to continue?
That's always the question. We want to be careful, never to time the market. But, some are saying that Bitcoin could break through $100,000 by January.
Wow.
But, if history is any guide, we know this is a very volatile investment. And we have a 5-year chart that I wanted to show you. There it is. Look at that. Shows you the roller coaster ride we've been on, and it's important to remember it can come crashing down just as quickly as it's gone up.
Yeah, so if people are thinking about, they're considering cryptocurrency, getting in for the first time, what are the things they need to consider in all of this?
Great question, and I think what you first want to do is say, how much risk am I comfortable taking? This is slowly becoming more mainstream. 17% of Americans, so about 1 in 5, now have had some sort of exposure to cryptocurrencies. If you invested $1,000 last year in Bitcoin, it's since gone up 150%. You would have now your money is worth $2,500. Right? That's a really nice investment. You got to remember, it's not only volatile, it is risky, which means it is digital. You can't touch it. It's not traceable. It's not backed by the government. So there are risks here. And that means it's also favored by bad people, drug traffickers, scammers. So you want to do your research. And you're all my friends, so I'm going to share with you what I tell my friends and family. If you want to get into a risky investment, sometimes big risk comes with big reward. That's okay. But you want to start small, get ready for the bumpy rides, and, invest what you can afford to lose, because there are no guaranteed returns.
Or something that you can sit on for a period of time too, because sometimes if you're in things like this and you watch the peaks and valleys, it can be very stressful.
Don't time the market, more time spent in the market.
Yes.
Yeah, it is all very fascinating. So something to watch. Don't necessarily just be drawn in by the big numbers.
Yeah,
exactly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you, Alexis. It is time now for another check of the weather, and Samara Theodore is watching a flood threat.
Yeah, we're headed to the state of Texas and Oklahoma. They have a flood threat in place. There's a flood watch from Lubbock right on into Oklahoma City and Tulsa. There we could see 2 to 3 inches of rain. Some spots get as much as 5 inches of rain. The bigger system here is this front that's sweeping through, and it's bringing heavy rain. But not only that, severe weather threat. We have a severe weather threat today. We could see a few tornadoes from San Angelo down to Dryden, right on into Wichita Falls. And then tomorrow, that severe weather threat shifts a bit east. Notice how it sweeps from Oklahoma and Texas into states like Louisiana and Arkansas, where flash flooding is also possible.
And we do have a very special note here about our dear friend and the heart and soul of Good Morning America, Robin Roberts, receiving a well-deserved honor last night at the Bowtie Ball in Tampa, Florida. Robin was honored by a global leader in journalism, the Poynter Institute, for her dedication to excellence in journalism and broadcasting. Poynter President Neil Brown telling the audience that few journalists connect so genuinely with their audience performances the way that Robin Roberts does. And boy, do we agree.
Absolutely.
Congratulations,
100%.
Robin. And I was posting earlier this morning, it really is her humanity that makes her such an incredible journalist.
It absolutely is. And a funny story, a very good friend of mine from my second market in Oklahoma interviewed Robin at that event last night.
Really?
Yes. So Farron reached out to me ahead of time. I was like, yeah, I'll give my girl a heads up to let her know she's sitting down with you. Farron said, thank you so much, because Robin came in, shook everyone's hand, and gave her a hug. And Robin making someone feel that special, that is Robin Roberts.
Exactly. That's the Robin we
She's
know.
amazing.
Congratulations. All right, we got a lot more ahead here on GMA this morning. Crime targets what authorities are saying about a string of burglaries at the homes of NFL and NBA stars.
And holiday travel deals, it's not too late to book. Expert advice just ahead.
NFL Week 11, Coach Herm Edwards joins us to preview the big matchups, including the Cowboys and the Texans on Monday night. We'll be right back. You're watching GMA on a Saturday morning.
The entire defensive line of the Falcons. Atlanta shows and brings pressure. Rush.
Back to GMA on the Sunday morning. That's Colorado Buffaloes superfan Peggy Copum being serenaded by her team in the stadium as she celebrates her 100th birthday. And to make it even more special, the Buffaloes gave her an extra present, taking home the win 49-24. Miss Peggy, as they call her, has attended Buffalo's games since the 1940s.
Oh, that reaction.
Look at her crying.
Yeah, that's really sweet.
Happy birthday, Peggy.
Love that.
Happy birthday.
And Buffaloes are looking good, by the way.
Coach
Got a lot to
Prime.
celebrate. Coach Prime getting it done. All right, let's take a look at some of the other big stories we're following on this Sunday morning. Happening right now, Ukraine's President Volodymyr Zelensky saying Russia launched 120 missiles and 90 drones this morning in its biggest missile attack in months. Zelensky saying about 140 of those missiles and drones were shot down, but the rest made it through. At least 5 people have been reported killed so far. The attack targeting Ukraine's energy infrastructure.
Also right now, police in Ohio are investigating after a group of masked people marched through the streets of Columbus on Saturday, dressed in black and holding flags with swastikas on them. Republican Governor Mike DeWine saying in a statement, "We will not tolerate hate in Ohio."
Legendary gymnastics coach Bella Caroli, who guided many stars, including Mary Lou Retton and Nadia Comaneci, to victory at multiple Olympic Games, has died. USA Gymnastics confirmed the Romanian-born coach's passing, but no cause of death has been cited. Bella Caroli was 82.
And Netflix reporting that Friday night's much-hyped fight between Mike Tyson and Jake Paul gave the network record numbers. Netflix says some 60 million households streamed the event. Then, of course, there were the more than 72,000 people who watched the match in person at AT&T Stadium in Arlington, Texas. Paul beat Tyson by unanimous decision.
Wow. And I saw that they said more numbers will be released later this week. It's really incredible. Yep. All right, and we start this half hour with the latest on the investigation into burglaries taking place at the homes of some high-profile sports stars right at the moment that they're out playing with their teams. Now authorities are looking into whether these cases could be related. ABC's Morgan Norwood says police report lots of similarities between them. Morgan, good morning.
Good morning to you, Janae. A lot of questions here. So first, it was Travis Kelce, Patrick Mahomes, and now Bucs star Bobby Portis says his home was ransacked, and he posted the chilling surveillance video and is now pleading with the public for tips. But this morning, with at least 3 high-profile athletes targeted within the past month, authorities are investigating whether they all could be related.
This is the moment NBA star Bobby Portis says 2 men broke into his home.
I had a home invasion, and they took most of my prized possessions.
In this home surveillance video Portis posted to X last week, you can see the two in what appear to be face masks inside his home in River Hills, Wisconsin. The Milwaukee Bucks forward says he broke in during a home game last week against the Cleveland Cavaliers, and he's now asking the public for help.
Any info that leads to the return of any of my belongings will be rewarded handsomely.
Police in River Hills, Wisconsin, working to track down the suspects, saying we are looking into all avenues, local and national, and are exploring what similarities there may be to the recent robberies of Kansas City Chiefs stars Travis Kelce and Patrick Mahomes.
It's frustrating. It's disappointing. I can't get into too many of the details because the investigation is still ongoing, but
obviously something that you don't want to happen to really anybody.
Mahomes remaining tight-lipped about the brash break-in at his sprawling estate. But when it comes to the invasion at Travis Kelce's home, police say the suspect made off with $20,000 in cash and caused $1,000 worth of damage. Earlier this year, Jason Kelce opening up on the Big podcast with Shaq about his brother Travis having to move because of security concerns.
In the first day he moved into the new house, a gated community, somebody knocks on the back door, a window of the house.
This morning, the FBI now assisting in the home invasion case at Bobby Portis's home, and River Hills police telling ABC they're in contact with authorities in Kansas and Missouri.
Well, the connection could be that you have 3 professional athletes, 2 football, 1 basketball. Or is this just a matter of, it's pretty easy to look up when a basketball game is being played and to figure out where a particular professional athlete lives, because they're also very active on social media.
And as for Bobby Portis, the Bucs player says that he is offering a $40,000 reward for information that leads to an arrest. With.
All right, Morgan, thank you so much. We do want to turn now, get another check of the weather with Samara Theodore, and we do have some rain coming. Got to get through a few more days of drought conditions. We got snow already in Utah.
Frozen rain. How about that?
Oh, I love that.
Let's go ahead and take
Pups
a
in
look.
the snow.
I mean, how happy is Copper? That's his name, Copper. Hi, Copper. How you doing today? Yes. I know that's your dog, and you know I love your dog, so this just makes me so happy. 2 inches of snow equals 1 happy dog in Eden, Utah. You have a great day. I hope I'm that happy when I see snow coming. Cottonwood Canyon, Utah. So they picked up some good inches. This just means winter's on the way. Old man winter knocking on the door. Take a look at the winter storm warnings that have already been issued as we prepare for this next round of snow in the Northwest, from Snoqualmie Pass down to Oregon. So you can see the system swirling there, slamming into the Pacific. And over the next 5 days, we could see 1 to 2 feet of snow, especially down there in Mount Shasta. Is Copper that happy? Your Copper that happy when he sees snow?
Oh, he loves the snow.
Yeah.
He's a good boy.
Copper's happy in general.
Yeah.
We love Copper.
Copper's as happy in the snow as Whit was hearing another dog named Copper.
I like all dogs.
The busy Thanksgiving travel season ready to take off. So joining us now with some advice for now and beyond, Going.com travel expert, our friend Katie Nastro. Good morning.
Favorite. We love when you're here.
I missed you guys.
I know. Well, you've been on travels. You've been getting some good deals.
I have. I've been taking advantage of some great deals. I was just in Austria, and I have to say,
my
they're setting up
Yeah,
those
it looks
Christmas
amazing.
markets. Oh, we got to get you over there. We got to get everybody over there.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about Spirit Airlines right now because, you know, it's known for no frills, very sort of basic, if you will, low fares. Spirit Airlines apparently preparing to file for bankruptcy. So what does this mean for customers?
Yeah, this is some of the biggest travel news out there, right? I mean, Gio knows. And I think travelers hear bankruptcy and they think, oh no, my gosh, I have a ticket with them. Are they going out of business? We want people to understand, first and foremost, bankruptcy does not necessarily mean going out of business. So if you have a ticket with them, it is still valid. And if something were to happen in the near term, which is unlikely, you are protected under federal law to get that refund, bankruptcy or not. If you are considering booking a flight with them for the winter holidays, maybe a last-minute trip, we at Going say, you know what, go ahead. It's unlikely that you're going to get affected in the near term. However, caveat, if you're looking ahead to the summer, this is where we would exercise some caution just because it is too uncertain at this point how exactly operationally everything's going to shake out. So best advice, look to another carrier for your summer travels.
So short term, long term, plan somewhere else. So Katie, your website describes some common travel myths. So let's, as we look those up, first up, that Tuesday is the best day to buy flights. I've also seen Saturday before.
Yeah, if I had a nickel for every time I heard this one, I'd have a lot of nickels. This was early days of the internet when airlines used to load their fares and tickets online for people to buy at a certain time of the week. And so if you were in the know, you could get ahead of the fact, grab a cheap flight on a Tuesday. But that has long since gone out the window. And we want people to understand, at the very, very least, anything I say today, just know that airfare is way, way too volatile to be able to predict the exact day and time that your flight that you're looking at is going to be at its absolute cheapest. So toss that one in the trash.
Another myth here, clearing your cookies before you search for travel deals. That's not a real thing?
I was like, out of your bag?
Yeah, right. I know.
Those are different cookies.
The only cookies I always say in travel that you should worry about are the ones you're going to eat on your travels, right? No. So a lot of people think that if they clear their cookies, they go incognito mode, they're going to avoid those price jumps that sometimes happen. And there's so many things that happen in terms of pricing and those algorithms that we just can't avoid and are unexpected sometimes. But there is no hard data or evidence out there that supports that doing these things will help. So, if you feel like it, sure, but it's not exactly going to move the needle. So
I do it anyway. All right. The advertised fare sales offer the best deals. Myth? No?
Look, ahead, we're heading into Travel Tuesday. We're going to see a lot of travel deals out there. But we want you to be a little bit skeptical on this one because oftentimes advertised sales aren't necessarily that great. Airlines don't need to spend big marketing budgets on these super cheap deals. And hey, Going wouldn't exist and other platforms wouldn't exist out there to help you get cheap flights if that were the case. So we just say go in with a little bit of skepticism, have an understanding of an average flight price, of the one that you're looking at so you have an idea.
Real quick, Katie, because we're almost out of time. We love last minute deals, specifically my family. When is a really good time to get in on this?
Yeah, look, if you haven't booked any travels, but you want to get away for the festive season, look to book in the next few weeks between Thanksgiving and the winter holidays, Christmas, Hanukkah, all of it. You can go from New York to Amsterdam for only $3.99 round trip. I know. What? Get on one of those awesome trains in Europe. It has such an extensive network. You can get to the Christmas markets. I was just in Austria checking out all of those. They were building the little huts. It was amazing. Or you can go from Dallas out to Salt Lake City. Had a ski season round trip on the Going app.
Those are amazing deals right there that we're seeing on the screen.
All on the Going app, available now.
Thank you so much.
Get to it.
Appreciate you, as
Thank
always.
you so much.
And coming up here on GMA, ESPN's Herm Edwards. Oh, he's back, sizing up this week's matchups in the NFL. We'll see if you agree. Stick around.
5-man rush. Grady Jarrett wins.
And welcome back to GMA as we take a look at Week 11 in the NFL. Lots of great matchups. ESPN football analyst, veteran head coach Herm Edwards, also our hometown trivia host now, is back with us as always. All right, let's get right into it here, Herm. First place in the AFC North is at stake. We got the Ravens, the Steelers renewing their rivalry in Pittsburgh. Game could go either way here. What do you think will ultimately be the deciding factor?
How the defense of the Pittsburgh Steelers play. Their linebackers obviously start stopping Derrick Henry and Lamar Jackson when he decides to leave the pocket. We know Russell Wilson can throw the ball down the field. All that's nice. But at the end of the day, when you think about these two teams, it's about defense. And the defense will win this game on either side of the ball. And I do believe the Pittsburgh Steelers are playing outstanding defense right now. They found their way, and they've got a little bit of offensive punch now with Russell Wilson throwing those moving balls to the receiver. So I like Pittsburgh at home versus the Ravens.
Wise words. Defense wins games. And Herm, no game in Week 11 is bigger than the undefeated Chiefs visiting the Bills, winners of 5 straight games. What's it going to take for Buffalo to stop KC?
Well, if you're the Buffalo Bills, you have to go on some long, methodical drives and take the ball away from who? Patrick Mahomes, the best quarterback in the league. And I think if you're the Buffalo Bills, you understand this. If we can possess the ball, most games are 12-possession games. You got to make this a 9-possession game to the Kansas City Chiefs. You got to run the ball with who? With the quarterback, Josh Allen. He's the guy that's never defended. You never defend the quarterback on the run. So he can make some plays with his legs, keep the ball as long as you can away from Patrick Mahomes, and obviously stop Kelsey on 3rd down.
All right, Herm, so this is my favorite segment. Who's with Herm?
Yeah, this week.
I've been really good at it. So let's take a look at the numbers right now. Witt still in the lead. He's got 8. Janae right behind him with 7, just because she copies him. So
that is not true.
And then Herm's got 6. I got that first win. Look who's on the board.
Hey!
The Dolphins beat the Rams. All 3 of you told me it wouldn't happen. So Monday night, Dallas Cowboys versus Houston, Texas. Who's your pick, Herm?
You think I'm taking Dallas? You think I'm going to take Dallas? I played for the Philadelphia Eagles. And you can't take the Dallas Cowboys. I'm taking Houston. Look, the Dallas Cowboys are wounded, right? Look, they got a backup quarterback. They're playing against a team that's 3rd ranked in defense. Stop them from running the football and make them throw the ball. That's a problem. Cooper Rush is the quarterback. By the way, what university did Cooper Rush attend? the quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys.
We're not doing any more trivia, Herm.
Gio knows all of this.
Oh, yeah.
Central Michigan. Michigan. Central Michigan.
All right, Will, what's your pick? I'm a Niners fan, so I can't go for the Cowboys either. I'm going Houston.
Didn't
Dak Prescott get caught on camera saying that they're awful recently? I'm going with the Texans, too.
Okay, and you know what? I have too many friends in Houston. I'm going with Houston. I'm going with all y'all.
Look at you. You're going to get another point.
You don't have a choice. You got to go for Houston.
Yeah, there you go.
And a reminder, ABC News Live will have more weekend programming.
Bye, everybody. Have a great week.
Bye, everyone.
Gio's on the board.